Blogger Tea Review. We are ready to move in and look at a Oolong, a dark roasted Oolong from Samovar. I'm going to go ahead. Touch more. Yes, that looks good. And spread a little bit out here as well so that we can look at some of that. It's not a fair representation. There's some bigger leaves. Let's do that quickly though. Okay, we're going to be talking about, this is Samovar's WuyiOolong. As we mentioned before, it is a dark roasted oolong. Okay. What does that mean? That means that a dark roasted is often fermented for a longer period, and then, as the name suggests, there is a roasting or firing process to it, which brings in a kind of a smoky, for lack of a better word, toasted element to it. So we're going to set those aside so that we can talk a little bit more. Don't need to zoom in on this packaging, but I did want to talk a little bit about it. A 1 ounce tin like this runs for $7.50. Some of ours is a San Francisco based company with some popular and well-known tea shops there. Some brewing or preparation instructions. I wanted to point out this one's interesting because they do say cover 1 to 2 tablespoons with water, boiling water. Pour off the water immediately, which is what you saw we do. We often give a rinse to our teas. Then pour 16 ounces of boiling water over the leaves. Steep for 1 to 3 minutes. Good for multiple infusions. Oolongs in general, you will find that the second steep produces a different, sometimes better note to it than the first. So that's something to look forward to. Also, their information on their website, let me give a few notes from that. It says that there are roasted barley notes. It says that it is good paired with desserts, and it indicates that if you are a coffee drinker and maybe trying to transition over to teas, change of lifestyle even, that this could be an ideal tea because it does have that stronger kick that your palate has been looking for all those years in in coffee. What we expect from this tea, from a Oolong dark roasted like this one, we do expect a caramel element, a roasted, toasted, sometimes a toasted nut or toasted grain type of element. Sometimes some honey textures, possibly, but not very often, you will get a apricot, what they call stone fruits, the plum, apricot, the large pit type fruits. So before we pour it into our cup, let's go down here and look at our leaves. Zoom in on these, and yes, I've poured out quite a few leaves. So I'm going to kind of scoot these around so that we get a point of reference. One, you will notice the dark color there, and you will notice that we have various sizes here. I have to get out this part to see that we do have some larger, rather twisted type leaves, okay, of various sizes. Many of them are smaller than our 1 1/4 inch long paper clip. Okay. Also, you will note that because it is a roasted, it does have a smoky caramel element to it in the fragrance of the dry leaf. So that can tell you the strength of this aroma, gives you a clue as to how it will perform as you drink and taste it. Okay. So one of the things I did notice about this tea, perhaps it was just in the serving, the container that I received, but I did notice a higher count of twigs. It was a bit twiggier than some of the others that I've looked at and compared with. Again, that may be just a one-off, depending on this particular package, this particular portion. Okay, we've got a nice representative color to look at, and again, when we're making our notes, sharing our notes from this tasting and previous tastings that we've done off camera. That goes there. Now, I do want to look at this color for a minute. And yes, that smoky, roasted, toasted element is jumping, wafting out of the cup. So let's go ahead. This is the color that we are looking for, a rich amber slash rust slash beyond copper color. Okay. Good notes, clarity. It's yeah, it's not cloudy at all. So yes, this is what we want to come to expect from this. Okay, so we're going to give it a try, give it a taste. Again, as usual, we swirl it around, let the air get to it. Also let it cool off some. We're going to, as we drink, suck it in so that we get the sound. We release the air, or get the air into it, and it releases more flavors in your mouth. Now, this particular one has quite a strong roasted element to it. I would suggest for you, as you're getting the taste from it, as you're drawing a flavor from it that you prefer, start with a lighter steeping and work your way up towards a longer steeping time. That would help. Help you find the amount of smoky, toasted element that you'd like. For me, and my previous tastings and notes over a variety of steeping times, some things that I found was this one's balance between smoky, toasted element and those honeyed or even stone fruit elements was not in balance. The smoky part, the toasted part, was a little heavier. Almost, I would classify it, or I would almost describe it as kind of like a heavily scorched peanut butter, because there is that kind of nutty note to it. Okay. Other thing that we want to have, yes, there is a lasting flavor, and it does fill the mouth. The aftertaste is present and continues, so that's a strong point for it. It is consistent. It's not just one moment on the lips and then all flavor is gone. So that's an advantage to it. Other things, there is some bitterness. It's hard. I would say a tinge more bitterness than some of the others that I've had. So that's a little over past the characteristic of some of the rock or the dark Wuyis like this. There is a little bit of a sweet note, although I have found others that you do have the smoke in the beginning of your mouth, or in the beginning of the taste, the beginning of the aftertaste, and that tones down and draws out this kind of cooling, sweet, slightly cooling sensation to it that gives you a sweet aftertaste. This one was a little bit lower on that scale. So I would like to have seen a little bit of a sweeter aftertaste, a smoother profile as far as the blend of the honeyed, any of the fruit elements, any of the toasted nut, smoky element to it. Overall, we would wrap this up and give it a package, give it a score of 83 because we want to see a fuller profile without so much of the scorched element. Okay. Again, the way to counteract that is control your steep time to minimize it some, but it's still a dominant feature of this tea. We just talked about Samovar's WuyiOolong. I'm Jason Walker, and this is Walker Tea Review.